Hello there, everyone. The Andrada here, and welcome back to episode 46 of our Project Architect 2 Let's Play series. And today we're continuing our work with Mekanism, as you can see, working on building ourselves some massive, full-size thermal evaporation towers to get some lithium dust going. Also working on taking care of polonium over there and getting all of that process going. So, yeah, let's dive into it. What do you call a sheep with no legs? A cloud, of course. Get it? Because they're fluffy? Ha, 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 ha. Welcome back, my friends, to another wonderful day here in the world of the Andrada, where, as you can see, we are radiation free. I let the game AFK for, well, it was at least 8 hours in order to clear up all this radiation. And you can see we have 18 plus trillion EMC. So AFK'd for a while. And yeah. But in the interim, I decided to go ahead and finish our setup over here for our isotopic centrifuge. So we'll talk about this. And I also went ahead and set up HDPE, ethylene production, to produce the HDPE sheets. So let's talk about those two really quick. So we had left off last episode with our isotopic centrifuge getting nuclear waste. I bumped up our reactor here to be max burn rate for our size reactor, which is 78 millibuckets per tick. And our fissile fuel is easily able to handle that. Okay, we're sitting at 15,000 plus buckets. I think we had 8,000 last time that we talked about this. So we have plenty of fissile fuel. Honestly, I could set up a bigger reactor if I really wanted to, but honestly, I don't see the need to. We're doing pretty good right now. So from this isotopic centrifuge, the plutonium is getting pushed out into this pressurized reaction chamber, this PRC. And once it hits one bucket, it combines with fluorite dust and then gets turned into the plutonium. Above this, so I saw on the Discord that there was a way to utilize the Evertide amulet inside of a fluid tank to get water. However, I have not been able to make that work at all. I've not been able to figure out, I put this in here and it just goes to the output slot and then never puts water back into it. And I don't know how to, I bet that button is, no, see, that button didn't work. Okay, so that's fill. What about this? Empty? Oh, is it emptying from that? Oh. Well, I figured it out. I never even saw that button there before. So that's the empty button. That tells it to empty from the input into here, I guess, I'm assuming, but it's working. So, yeah. Anyway, it's one convenient block that can push water, and it's free, right? This does not require EMC. All operations are completely free. So it generates water for you, and if you put it inside of your ultimate fluid tank, you can smack it with your configurator, shift smack. You can see how it brightens up there. And it'll push water into the inventory that's attached to below it. It'll push into the water inventory below it. So yeah, we have infinite water, and good, I figured that out. Okay, because what I had was a modular router with an activator module with the Evertide amulet in there, so which basically meant it was just right-clicking the Evertide amulet onto the fluid tank, which worked, but nice to know I can compact that down. Anyway, so what we have going on here is a crushing factory, creating the fluorite that we're going to need. We'll also need that for the polonium, so we have that going for us, which is nice. We have a modular router here pulling that fluorite and distributing it over to here, and eventually it'll distribute it here. And then we have this guy pulling the output from there and then sending it into an interface. Pretty simple. Over here on this side, we have our ethylene production. Ethylene is very, very simple to make. It's not complicated at all, and the HDPE that we need for it is the same. First things you need is some sort of biomaterial. Moss is the best for this. Since we have it EMCable, each moss is only 12 EMC, and we get 5 biofuel per. Normally, you'd want to use, if you didn't have EMC, melons is usually a pretty good source, because one full-size melon breaks down into 9 melon chunks, and that's each melon chunk is 4 EMC, or slice, I guess. But since we have EMC, we can do moss blocks. Those get fed over here to a PRC with hydrogen and water, which, as you know, we're generating extra hydrogen over here that we're not utilizing at all. So that's coming into here, and then we have water being output into it. And what that does is it creates substrate. That substrate then gets put into the system because it generates substrate and ethylene. The ethylene also gets dumped into the system. We then have a rotary condensator that is taking the ethylene, and I'm sorry, the ethylene gets pushed to the rotary condensator. Yeah, no, I guess actually I do have it dump into the system, don't I? And then I have this output. Yeah, oh, I guess I could have just had that directly pushed, but whatever. So the ethylene comes into a rotary condensator in condensation mode, and it's creating liquid ethylene, which then gets pushed over here to our PRC, which uses oxygen. Again, we're generating over there. And that substrate to produce HDPE. And then over here, HDPE, 3 pellets produces a sheet. I don't think we have any need for the pellets because the only other thing we can make is the rods. And the rods are used to make a pigment mixer, which allows you to get colors, right? Produces pigments. It's a colorator. And then a plastic is literally just, it's plastic. It's meant for building fences. It acts like a stick. So not anything I necessarily want and or need. So we have HDPE being produced and all of our ethylene gets burned, but we have the HDPE that we need, which means we can go ahead and get ourselves set up with our solar neutron activator in order to start producing the polonium that we need in order to start getting ourselves our SPS and all of that stuff. So this block here is the whole reason we struggled to get ourselves a day dimension, so that way these can constantly run. We're going to need a lot of these, especially as we start working towards getting ourselves lithium, which you can see I have that over there, or tritium is essentially what we need. Okay, so we need to go ahead and attach to this, and we need to get some of this nuclear waste flowing over this direction. I did not intend for that connection to happen, but whatever. I wanted that to go there. Nothing I can do about it, and I'm not dealing with another nuclear why did it double click? Okay, well, I guess we have an extra buffer of cable there. Anyway, so the nuclear waste is going to come here to our solar neutron activator, and it's going to produce polonium. Now, there is no speeding this up. This is going to go as fast as it goes. Nothing we can do about it. But the polonium is, it's automatically getting pushed over here. Okay, cool. I don't necessarily, that's perfectly fine. I do still want to control that, but it can output into this PRC. The PRC is going to need water, just like we did before. So let's get a tank. We should be able to craft ourselves an ultimate fluid tank. And get an Evertide amulet, and we should be able to, theoretically now this will test this setup. But we take our fluid tank, place it here. We put this onto empty mode apparently, and we put that into the slot. And that makes sense. I had it on both modes, so it would empty and then it would go into here expecting to fill, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. But I go ahead and right click this. You see that it brightened up, and it should now be putting water into the system. We need to go ahead and clear all of that. You're going to input there gas. You can go ahead and clear and then input from the back. Energy perfect items are going to clear. Those are going to come in from the front. We'll go ahead and grab this and items will come out of the front. So you can go ahead and distribute, and it should now start producing. We need our mechanism upgrades. Let's speed this up. Bam. So now we should be producing polonium pellets and spent nuclear waste. We're going to talk about the spent nuclear waste in a moment. But we have the polonium pellets that we need. And do I have this set to get gases? Yes. Yes. Why aren't we getting more polonium? Honestly, plutonium, we have over 5,000, so I don't necessarily need that anymore. Let's go ahead and shut this off. It'll fill up with nuclear waste, and it'll fill up a buffer. I could set up like a regulator out here to control this, but at this point, it's honestly not that big of a deal. What we need now is polonium, though. So we want everything to go this direction. Why isn't it? You're full. Oh, that's me being dumb. I forgot to allow gases to input from the back. There we go. Okay, perfect. Now we're getting polonium again. So we have polonium being generated and spent nuclear waste. We need to get that polonium out of there. So we'll go ahead and distribute our module. We can also do that from the front. That's perfectly fine. So we can set the front to be input and output. So it'll pull the items out of the front. So we have polonium coming into the system. Beautiful, which is what we needed. I also want to make sure that it gets into a drawer since we're going to be producing basically an infinite amount of this. But what we need to do is get that spent nuclear waste out of here. So what I need to do, I have a cable here, as you can see, running this way. I need to attach to that. So what I'm going to do is dig. Let's do this. Let's shrink myself down. Okay, but you didn't work. Don't know why that got reset. Okay, shrink myself down. What I want to do, I want to attach to here. Okay, I want a cable to come in and attach there. But in order to do so, I got to make sure that these don't cross. So I'm going to have to go underneath here. And I was hoping maybe we'd have some sandstone or whatever, but whatever. Good. Okay. So then we can get ultimate pressurized tube can sit there, and then down here. Keeping in mind, each of these ultimate pressurized tubes also has a buffer of 512 buckets, I believe it is. So that's going to attach there. We can unshrinkify ourselves. And then we can go ahead and say, hey, I want the waste, which is also a gas. I want it to output to the right, and it's going to go ahead and get that waste out of here. Now, where is that waste going, you may be asking? Well, as is with everything, you know, in the real world, the best place to dump your nuclear waste is in the ocean, of course. So we have our pipes running down here into the ocean, set up with radioactive waste barrels. And what these do is these will slowly fill up. There's 64 total of them, but they slowly decay too. So you can see there, like it's at 18, 17, 16. So it decays that spent nuclear waste into the environment without causing radiation, because, you know, putting things in the ocean is the way that we humans do it, you know? So, hey, it works. Okay, so with all that being said, we now have polonium being generated, which was our whole goal of getting all of this set up. Because the polonium is going to be needed for, honestly, I don't even remember what. This was a while ago. But we needed the polonium for something, and so we have it. Let me go ahead and place this inside of, let's say, here. That should be fine. Let's grab our polonium and then take it out and then put it back in so it all ends up in the drawer. Put that away. And let's get started with our next project, which is figuring out what did we need that polonium for anyway? I don't even remember. Polonium. What do I need you for? Yeah, the SPS, duh. It's needed for the supercharged coil. It's needed for I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's not needed for anything else. I know it's needed for the mech suit. I don't know if I'm going to use the mecha suit, though. I probably would get the mecha bow. Energy arrows. Removes the need for ammunition. Auto fire. Yeah, I'm probably thinking of getting the Mekanism bow. I know that fighting the Chaos Guardian's a pain without being able to rapid fire. So the Mekatana. I don't even think I've ever heard of that before. Yeah. Anyway, so what we need was the mecha. We need it for the SPS, the laser. That's literally all we need that polonium for. Anyway, so on top of that, the last step of major thing that we need for Mekanism is to start generating lithium, okay? In both forms. We need lithium dust and we need lithium as itself. And do we need liquid lithium? I don't think we need liquid lithium at all. Okay. So lithium dust is used to produce basic induction cells, which are needed if we want to get into creative energy cubes at some point. So I definitely want to start producing lithium. We also need regular lithium, the gas, in order to produce tritium. And tritium is going to be used when we set up a fusion reactor and start generating ridiculous amounts of power. Now, ideally, what I would like to do is max out our fusion reactor. Generally, you can only max out your fusion reactor if you directly inject DT fuel, which is deuterium tritium fuel, into the fusion reactor at 1 bucket per tick, which is a lot. That's a lot of tritium that you're going to ultimately end up needing, which is the big reason that we set up a day dimension here was for this. My last series, All the Mods 9, I did set up a fusion reactor, but we weren't able to maintain the amount of fuel that we need, so we weren't able to get as much power out of it as we can. Now, a regular fusion reactor is still going to generate a couple million RF per tick. It's a fairly decent amount, but a DT fueled one can generate something like 200, sorry about that, can generate something about like 200 million RF per tick, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we definitely want to go that route. So I was looking around, scoping out the wiki and everything like that. And from what I can tell, in order to get the to get this process set up, you need a total of 6 full-size evaporation towers, which are larger than what I have here because I messed this up. 6 full-sized evaporation towers producing brine. So they turn water into brine, and those get produced into lithium, and then you can set up your solar neutron activators off of that. So 6 brine producers, 1 lithium producer, and we should be good. I also want to go ahead and have a separate setup just for the lithium dust. That way it's not interfering with any of this. So we have another one going. So we're going to take care of the lithium dust first, and then we'll see about that. Okay. So in order to do this, you need thermal evaporation blocks, and it's a weird setup because it doesn't fit the standard Minecraft, odd numbers of setup. This is a 4 by 4. Okay. Not a 5 by 5, not a 3 by 3, a 4 by 4, which, like I said, awkward. Okay. But in order to get this done, we're going to need to get ourselves some valves. We need an input and an output. We're also going to need an input for heat, which actually, honestly, we should be able to put this here, and our resistive heater will be able to share space with that. Okay. So we have that going for us. And then we're going to need to get ourselves some controllers. And the controllers are going to sit here. And then we just need to fill in the rest of the space with the thermal evaporation blocks. And then once this gets up to 3 high is the minimum height for it, it should create itself. What am I? Oh, okay. That can't be there. Let's put it here then. We can put the valve there and that there. There it goes. Okay. So, 3 by 3, or I'm sorry, 3 high is minimum requirement, and then you can go. The max size is 18, which is what we want to go for. We want each of these to be as tall as they can be. So we're currently at 3, but what I can do is go ahead and wand this. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so this is a maximum height thermal evaporation plant. If I add one more row on it, is it going to... Yep, look, it shut off. You can see there, it is no longer happy. I cannot access this. It is too tall. All right, so good. We validated that we actually set this up the correct height. Let's go ahead and bring this down that one level. Can I use you? Will you? No, you won't pop those off, unfortunately. I really should upgrade to like the MODPACK or something like that and get rid of this Paxel, but whatever. So anyway, we have a max height evaporation tower. No, now what I would like to do is copy and paste this. I don't want to have to build this for all of these. So what I'm going to do is grab my copy paste gadget here, and we're going to be on copy mode. And we're going to copy from this. It won't let me do it because it's a no. Hey, you're on copy mode. You're not anchored to anything. But it's not area too large. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to reset it here. No. There. Okay. So there up to this corner should copy this whole thing. Now, it's not going to be able to copy the tile entities, but it'll be able to copy everything else, which is great. So I can utilize, and actually, you know what? Yeah, paste mode, but that's way tall or way wrong sized. We need to rotate. We also need it to, yeah, that's placement. I want it to place on top, but it's not doing that. Because, you know why? It's because I copied from the top. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's reverse that. Let's copy. Let's start it from down here. From there, and let's go. Since I built that up to there, let's do it from here. I can manually do that first row for all of these. And then if I do this, there we go. Now, that should be good. But I ran out, which is fine because I have extra in here. Evaporation. I made a bunch. So we can do that again. And now it'll fill it out. Okay, cool. So now with that, we have 2 full-size thermal evaporation planes going. I like it. And then we can copy and paste for the rest of that later, and I can get those set up. So what we need to do now, inside of here, you're going to see height is 18. We need to get heat into these in order for it to actually do its thing. That's where Mekanism resistive heaters come from. That guy can chill there. We can go ahead and grab ourselves a flux point. And the flux point can go ahead and sit down here. We're going to go ahead and say, can you sit down there? No. If I remember, actually, this has to be, the resistive heater has a spacing, doesn't it? Are you getting heat out of that? Temperature did go up, but the power has to come into this specifically, if I remember correctly. Yeah. There's a specific spot that power has to come into. So the question is, will the sides of this create heat? I guess that, I don't know. I've actually never set it up this way. I've always separated and had each one have its own resistive heater. So it won't turn either. Let's do this. Let's shrink. And then maybe I can get in here and do this. And then yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Can you unshrink, please? Thank you. Okay. So let's see if this can generate heat now. I'll go ahead and put this here. This is here, and it is our lithium dust. Or sorry, lithium. It really honestly doesn't matter, does it? And then we're going to set this to at least 1250. I think it's 1250 per. So we'll just say 2500 RF per tick. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. But we should start seeing these start warming up. Yeah, okay, good. So those are warming up. Those are warming up. Now we need to get water into this guy, which is why I have sinks here. Sink can go ahead and sit here. Cable can come on in. We're going to go ahead and set our fluid interface up onto you. Fluid exporter goes onto the back side of this, and then that is going to get this, and we're going to max this out. So fluid transfer rate, done. And so now this should be max water inside of there, which is producing brine. Perfect. Now that brine needs to come out, and it needs to go into the other side. So we're going to use, I believe brine counts as a gas, or is it a liquid? Because we can convert into liquid lithium. I think it might be a liquid, actually. Ultimate mechanical pipe. Yes. Okay, cool. So it's a liquid, and that's going to come over here and produce liquid lithium. All right. Excellent work. Excellent work. So then that liquid lithium needs to get decondensated. Curious why we have nighttime going on, unless it started to rain over there. Or sorry, a condensation, rotary condensate, I can't say the word. Gosh, I cannot say it. Condensator. Anyway, so we need to have this go into that, and then we need a chemical crystallizer, which apparently I don't have taught to the system. Looks very much like the chemical dissolution chamber, though, doesn't it? It's that. And that. I don't know if that made it in there. Okay, it did. It was a little laggy when I hit escape there. Okay, so we're going to have this come out. It's going to go into a rotary condensator. So this liquid lithium comes out, goes into here. And since it says liquid lithium, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's a liquid. So we can go ahead and do this, which will pull into the rotary condensator, but we're going to want it on this mode. So it turns lithium into lithium, but liquid form instead of non-liquid form. Fluids we're going to clear, but you can input from the top. Items are clear. Energy is fine. Gas is clear, but gases will output to the right. And then we'll get our chemical crystallizer here, and that will start producing the lithium dust. Okay. Your gases input on the left, and everything else is clear. Energy is fine. And then you can output to the top, and we'll get an ender chest up here. So it can output the lithium dust into. We need to get power and speed upgrades. And then that is lithium dust. So then for the regular lithium that I want to produce, which apparently I'm going to need I don't know. I wonder, can the solar neutron activator, do I need to convert to, recipe? I need to convert. Yeah, I have to have the lithium converted over. So I'm going to need a bunch of rotary condensators too. Anyway, so this is lithium dust. Sure. That's power for you. Power for you. And bada bing, bada boom. Everything's happy. Just slow. So let's grab some upgrades. There we go. And it'll produce lithium dust as fast as it possibly can. Now the chemical crystallizer, can you use a gas upgrade? I have no idea. Let's find out. No. Okay, cool. I don't honestly know what machines use the gas upgrades. It's not very many. So then we just need an ender chest, and we need our lithium dust, and then we'll just put it into our, dump it into our system, and I'll get a drawer for that. And that way, you know, we don't end up with ridiculous amounts or anything like that. Just clogging up our inventory. But yeah, that is the production of lithium. So in between episodes, I'll go ahead and grab and do the same thing for all of these, except for these ones, these are all going to be producing brine, and then they will all get hooked up to this machine here, which is going to produce the lithium. And then all of that will go into rotary condensator, and hopefully one rotary condensator. I don't know if that's going to be able to handle that. Honestly, this one's already backed up, so I'm going to assume no, it's not going to be able to, but we'll kind of find out. But we can start producing that tritium that I'm going to need. So anyway, yeah, good episode. Good episode. Lots of stuff done. We're getting through Mekanism, and then we'll get into fusion, and we'll get into our SPS and start producing that antimatter. Then we can start flipping script back to progressing through our quests and getting our archium. Speaking of quests, I think I have a few completed, so let's go ahead and collect those and see what we end up getting, if anything good. We got a mushroom plushie. We got an advanced hopper upgrade and a ocelot plushie. Nice. And an enchanted golden apple. All good things. Anyway, yeah. So that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it. It really does help out the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Have a good one.